Today I want to talk about data types in Python. So first, what is a data type? A data type, in short, is a particular kind of data item as defined by the values it can take. So to start off, we have numeric types. Now numeric types, as the name suggests, is really any sort of a number. So int or integer and float or floating point number. So first, let's go over an integer. An integer is any whole number. So 17, negative 93, 1, 0, 12, negative 9. All of these are examples of integers because they're whole numbers. They may or may not have a negative. It really doesn't matter to the number. The other type of numeric type is float. Float, or floating point numbers, are any number that have a decimal in it. So 12.0, 6.2, 9.7, negative 6.9, negative 2.3. All of these are examples of floats because they have a decimal value in them. I hope that this gave you a good overview of numeric types. So text types is anything that is text, and a good example of this is a string. So a string is anything that is surrounded by double quotes or single quotes. So an example of this is hello world, and this could be single quotes as well. It can also be 17. This is an example of a text type, and as a sub of that, a string, because it's surrounded in double quotes. It could be anything, really. Okay, the next type that I'm gonna move into is Boolean types. Or really Boolean type, because there's only one, which is bool. Now a bool or Boolean is either true or false. And notice how it has a capital at the beginning. That's needed to make sure that you know that it's a Boolean, because otherwise it'll give you this yellow squiggly line at the bottom, and that means that it's unidentified. The next type that I'm going to move into is sequence types. Sequence types are anything like a list or a tuple. There's a few others, but this is all we're going to go into in the basic section. So to start off, make sure you have square brackets, and then you'll put your list components inside of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's the same with tuples, and this will be covered in a later section. But when you're looking at a list, if you want to access this first part, so let's say, so what you would do is you would access it by the index. So this right here, this 1 is at index 0, the 2 is at index 1, the 3 is at index 2, and etc. So what I really want you to notice is that it starts at 0, and this is important to note. The other type that I want to go over is tuple. Now tuples, you use parentheses, and then you can put your value inside of them. Now it's important to note I have been using ints or integers to put inside, but you can also store strings or any other sort of value. So we have string 1, put that there, string 2, and etc. The final thing that I want to point out, commas separate the values. You can really have any sort of value here. You can even have another tuple, but that's going to be covered in a later section. The final type I want to cover is none type. None type is accessed with the keyword none. And this is when there's nothing. It's not been assigned. So if you were to output a value to the console, a variable that had not yet been assigned, you would get none because it had no value. I hope you've enjoyed this data types video. Stick around for the next ones so you can learn more complex things that you can do in Python. Later.